I made a soap with 0% coconut oil, 30% coconut oil and 100% coconut oil. Today, you're going to learn how different concentrations of oils result in completely different lather. And the difference is shocking. This is the type of information that will transform you from complete beginner to advanced and confident soap maker. So the first soap feels like you're washing with lotion. The second soap is a perfect balance between cleansing and creamy and moisturizing. And the third soap is so cleansing that it will definitely dry out your skin. And here's why this is important. You're a beginner soap maker. You go online, you find a recipe that says use 30% coconut oil. You say perfect, and then you go to another video or blog and it says use 15% coconut oil, and you're like, wait, what? Why this recipe uses 30? Why is this recipe uses 15? Today you're gonna find out why. The truth is, there is no right percentage. The percentage depends on what you're trying to achieve, based on your goals. Before we dive into looking at the results of those three soaps, let's talk about formulation. Coconut oil is high in lauric acid and myristic acid. When it combines with sodium hydroxide, it creates sodium laurate and sodium myristate. Those two substances, they're responsible for adding a lot of bubbles and cleansiness to your soap. It's literally what makes your soap really fun, but sometimes too fun, because high concentration of coconut oil might lead to your skin getting very dried. Shea butter, from the other hand, is high in stearic and palmitic acid. So when those react with sodium hydroxide or lye, they create substances that give creaminess and structure to your soap. Shea butter and cocoa butter, they are very similar to each other. They both have a high concentration of stearic and palmitic acid, so you can also replace one for another. I used to use cocoa butter a lot until my supplier stopped supplying it because of some shortage issues, and therefore I substitute all of my cocoa butter to shea butter, and my soap still works perfectly fine. If you're buying shea butter, I recommend refined shea butter, as I've talked before, because refined shea butter has a consistent profile, while unrefined shea butter comes with an odor, and that odor might interfere with your fragrance or essential oils. And then let's talk about olive oil, which will also be included in the recipes today. Olive oil is high in oleic acid and linoleic acid, and those acids, when they react with sodium hydroxide, they produce sodium oleate. Sodium oleate is responsible for giving a lot of conditioning properties to your soap. Now, the most popular soaps in the world, like Aleppo soap, Castille soap, Marseille soap, they are all made with a very high concentration of olive oil. And if you're making cold process soap with a high concentration of olive oil, here's the most fascinating thing you need to know. You need to cure it for literally 1 year. Because olive oil has very long fatty acid chains and it takes a lot of time to be converted into soap. So you really need to cure it for a very long time. And the result is a long-lasting, conditioning, moisturizing soap. If you don't cure it for a long time, you end up with something that will feel very slimy in the shower and that will literally melt in your hand. So let's take a look at the first recipe. The first recipe has 0% coconut oil. It's made with 50% olive oil and 50% shea butter. And I cure this soap for minimum 6 months because I've seen this is where I get the best results possible. And the result is this. You get a very creamy and conditioning lather. It doesn't bubble that much. Of course, it doesn't bubble at all because it does not contain coconut oil, but it gives this spa-like treatment. This is the exact soap I make for customers that have very sensitive and dry skin. Because I make it for those customers, I don't include any fragrance or essential oil, because fragrances and essential oil can cause sensitivity to certain people. So it's the most simple soap ever: olive oil, shea butter, and sodium hydroxide. That's all. The second soap has 30% coconut oil concentration. It also contains 25% shea butter, 40% olive oil, and 5% castor oil. These 4 ingredients together, they work like a boy band, literally. Like, together they create this amazing soap that is very conditioning because of olive oil, cleansing because of coconut oil, creamy because of shea butter, and thick because of castor oil. Castor oil will give thickness to your lather. So it's the perfect balance between creaminess and cleansiness, because you don't want something to be too cleansing, it will dry out your skin, but by combining it with shea butter, you get this beautiful creamy lather, and by adding castor oil, you get this creamy, bubbly, and thick lather. And let's look at the last one. This is one of my favorite ones. 100% coconut oil concentration. This is basically a dish soap. You can either make it with 100% coconut oil or make it with 95% coconut oil plus a bit of castor oil to add thickness to your lather. Now, the reason why this soap has a very high concentration of coconut oil is because it's made for the dishes, and we want something that can strip away fat and remove the grease from the dishes. And that's why we use coconut oil, because coconut oil bubbles a lot. So it's perfect to use this soap for the dishes. But don't use this soap for your hands, because it's not good. It can dry out your skin if you use it too much. If you're planning to use a very high concentration of coconut oil soap, make sure you add a lot of superfat, 10%, 12% or more. Superfat is basically the extra oils you add on top of your oils that do not react with lye, sodium hydroxide, so they just stay in your soap unsaponified. So these are the 3 different lathers you get with 3 different concentrations of coconut oil. Coconut oil is a major player in soap making, in cold process soap making, and it's basically one of the ingredients you definitely need to use. By the way, if you're interested in soap making, I have an ebook that explains how you go from beginner to confident soap maker, and how to learn not only to copy recipes but to design your own recipes as well, because that's what I want for you. I don't want you to just see a recipe online or see a recipe from my ebook and just copy it and not understanding what's going on. I want you to have full understanding of the percentages, of the ingredients that go on, why you add coconut oil, why you add olive oil, and then tweak the recipes based on your needs. Because you might say, oh, Perry tells me to add 30% coconut oil, but I'm actually someone who has slightly dry skin, so I would like to lower it down to 20% or 15% because that will work for me. And that's how I want you to think. If you're interested in the ebook, click the link in my bio. It contains a lot of different soap recipes as well as skincare recipes like shampoo and conditioner bars, creams and massage candles, and so on. I'm very looking forward to hearing your thoughts about the different oils and what's your experience with those oils. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next time.